was my father's fervent wish that when he came to the end of his days, that he be buried in simple soldier's ceremony. This was in keeping with his idea that he was but a soldier doing his duty, a citizen serving his country. We have waited 27 years to fulfill that wish that he left us with. But we are here today, and we are able to grant him that wish. In keeping with his desires, we will keep these ceremonies simple. And it is left to the family, and I speak in their behalf, on behalf of the Marcos family, to thank all those who actually helped and made this day a reality. We thank President Rodrigo Duterte for his recognition of my father's service to the nation. We thank all the members of the Armed Forces of the Philippines who have here come to pay their last respects to their former Commander-in-Chief. We thank all the members of the Philippine National Police for the support that they have given us in these ceremonies that we are having today. And to the Filipino people for their continuing support of my father's dream of unity and progress for our country. So let today be the first day amongst many days and months and years of our continuing to work for the unity and the progress of our country. Let us be the heroes that my father asked us all to be, and finally bring the Filipino nation together, and finally bring the Filipinos to greatness.
Yang kaisa-isang anak na lalaki, yung ating sanang Vice President sa kasalukuyan, ngunit nakapending pa yung kanyang kaso sa Supreme Court, Ferdinand Marcos II, he delivered his eulogy to his father. And on the occasion of the 31st anniversary of the death of Ferdinand Edralin Marcos, I would like to read the eulogy of his son, Bongbong Marcos. And the title of his eulogy is A Man's Farewell to His Father. It is in the nature of moments such as this that one picks out particular incidents of a loved one, particular memories that serve to illustrate the relationship between two people. This is rather difficult when it comes to my father, not because I know him so little, but because I knew him so well. And when I think on it, all our time together was uplifting, enlightening, and enriching. Digging deep into my past, the earliest memory I have of my father was of him in his office in our home in San Juan. I remember him receiving callers for hours on end, giving and receiving advice, writing the ubiquitous recommendations, while his small son played with his feet under the desk. It was a gentler time. Then there was that birthday morning, it must have been my 5th, also in San Juan, when he woke me up singing "Happy Birthday" and presented me with my birthday present. He showed me how it worked and played with me, but I could hear the assistants coming in telling him that he would be late for an appointment. But he stayed on, obviously enjoying himself as much as I, until he could stay no more. He did not want to leave, and I knew that I didn't want him to leave either, but somehow I understood that he had to go. I suddenly realized that he was an important man. I also realized that he was a good father and that I loved him. I will always think of him as this man of unbridled excellence who would gently but firmly push you to your limits in all that you chose to do. I arrived home one day with a particularly good set of grades, impatient for him to see them. Finally, finding him, I said, "Look, Dad, my grades are so high." He took my report card, looked at it, looked at me, and said, "Of course they are. You are a Marcos, and for a Marcos, excellence is a way of life." Seeing my crestfallen expression, he put his arm around me and said, "You have done well, my son, and I know you and I know that you will do even better." He had again made me understand, and I know exactly what he meant. I will always remember him as a warrior poet. I had, as a child, seeing him and his friends practice their shooting, constantly nagged him to teach me, and finally the time came when he began instructing me at the intricacies of marksmanship. Years later, I was pronounced by him to be sufficiently schooled and ready for a hunt. I naturally assured that he would accompany me and guide me through that experience as well. When I discovered that this was not to be so, I asked him why, and he said to me, "I have seen too many killings in my life, and my heart could not bear the thought of even a single death of my hand." And then why, I asked, "Why did you teach me to shoot?" "Not to kill," he answered, "but as you would learn discipline and gain the self-confidence and satisfaction of doing something difficult well." He is to me the tireless academe who, on one of his rare visits out of the country, when he came to see me at Oxford, as I took him around the grounds of my college, he looked in wonderment at the dons and the students walking past with their gowns billowing behind them. He gazed at the glorious sight of Oxford's spires against the sky. I could feel him drinking in the knowledge and the learning that hung inside the thick air. He later asked me, "So, you live and work here?" And grinning, I answered, "Yes, Dad, I do." "You lucky, lucky boy," he said. And for the first time during my stay there, I realized how lucky I was indeed, and what a wondrous gift of learning he had once more given me. He will always be the grand orator who I watched and listened to as he held great crowds spellbound. I can hear his voice ringing in the air. I can see the upturned faces at countless millions as they listened, transfixed by the power of his messages. I remember him too in smaller, more intimate moments, such as on rainy days, taking us children to the airport to resume our studies abroad. He would always tell me what I imagine other parents would tell their children: study hard, be good, and write us as often as possible and tell us what you're doing. Then he would look at the skies and say, "We are so sad that you are leaving that even the heavens weep." And though we laughingly mocked that lamentation of his, we nestled in the warmth of his affection. So you see, he was my hero. He was my general. He was my teacher, my friend. He was my father.
I would die 1,000 deaths and more for my motherland. Ferdinand Edralin Marcos, former President of the Republic of the Philippines.